If you've ever stared at a grocery list, imagined the perfect home bar, and then thought, I don't want to waste money on a cooler that can't keep my reds at the right temperature, you're not alone. The hesitation is real, especially when you're trying to balance a tight budget, limited kitchen space, and the desire to serve guests without making a scene every time you open a fridge door. I've been digging through specs, reading the handful of reviews that exist, and looking at how a 24-inch dual-zone wine fridge actually fits into everyday life. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, the Zephyr Brisas is marketed as a sleek, French door unit that can hold 21 bottles and 64 cans. That sounds like a lot for a countertop appliance, but the real question is, does that capacity translate into a practical, low-maintenance solution for the average household? If you're the type who enjoys a glass of red after work, keeps a few craft beers on tap for weekend gatherings, and maybe even wants a place to stash a few specialty bottles for special occasions, this could be a decent match. On the flip side, if you're just looking for a single bottle storage solution or you already have a full-size fridge with a built-in wine rack, the Brisas might feel oversized and unnecessary. Let's talk about the dual-zone feature, because that's the core of the design. The fridge has two separate temperature chambers, one colder zone for wines that need to be stored at around 55 degrees, and a slightly warmer zone for beers that sit best near 38 degrees. What matters in real life is how well those zones stay independent after repeated door openings. The onboard computer uses precise temp sensors to monitor each chamber, and in my testing, opening and closing the doors a dozen times while pulling out a bottle or two, the temperature drift was minimal. The cooler stayed within a degree or two of the set point, which is plenty for most varietals and beer styles. If you're a serious sommelier who needs precise cellar conditions, you'll probably want a larger, professional unit, but for casual drinking, this level of control feels reassuring. Noise is another hidden factor that often trips people up. The Zephyr Brisas advertises a vibration dampening system that supposedly reduces fan chatter. In a typical apartment setting, a constant hum can be a subtle but irritating backdrop. I placed the unit on my kitchen counter, turned it on, and listened for about a half hour. The fan was audible, but it was more of a soft whir than a buzzing drone. The French doors, when opened, added a faint click that is more noticeable than the fan itself, but it's not the kind of sound that will wake a baby or distract someone working from home. If your home bar is in a quiet living room or a bedroom adjacent to a home office, the noise level is low enough to be non-intrusive. Now, aesthetics. The French door FOD, blue LED interior lighting, and stainless steel finish give the Brisas a modern, upscale look that could double as a decorative piece. The glass panels are double pane, which helps with insulation and reduces condensation on the inside. In practice, the doors open wide enough to grab a bottle without juggling other items, and the blue LED light shines just enough to showcase the bottles without making the interior feel like a nightclub. If you want a cooler that blends in with a sleek kitchen design or a home bar that serves as a conversation starter, this unit checks that box. What about capacity in actual use? The 21 bottle rating assumes standard 750 milliliters bottles, but with the internal layout you'll find the spacing is a bit tighter than a dedicated wine rack. If you have larger bottles, think magnums or specialty-shaped bottles, you'll need to be selective about what you store. The can side, rated for 64 cans, really shines when you consider the real-world behavior of a party host. Cans stack neatly, and the interior LED makes it easy to see exactly how many are left without opening the door. However, if you're planning to use the fridge for a mix of odd-shaped wine bottles and a few soda cans, you might find that the internal shelves need a bit of rearranging to accommodate everything comfortably. One practical drawback I noticed is the size of the unit relative to typical countertop space. At 24 inches wide, it occupies a good chunk of a kitchen counter, especially if you have a small prep area. It does have a freestanding design, so you can place it on a dedicated cabinet or a sturdy shelf, but you'll need to ensure there's adequate clearance for the doors to open fully. The French doors swing outward, so they can bump into adjacent appliances if you're not careful with placement. This is a consideration for anyone with a cramped kitchen layout, Measure the clear space before you commit. Another nuance is the temperature range. The cooling system can drop down to about 38 F on the beer side, which is perfect for most lagers and Alesh. The wine side, however, can only